Hey, how's it going? I just wanted to do another video about another revelation we got from the Lord back on the 1st of the 4th of 2020 by another brother in Christ of ours. So I'm just going to read this out for you as well to get it out there to the world. Brothers and sisters, let those who have ears hear. Weep and pray for your children and grandchildren. They will face a lot more than we will face. Where does the virus come from, Lord? And why are the elderly only dying? As I was praying, the Lord said, this virus is created to eliminate the older generations, the sick people and the homeless. It is a chemical weapon created by China and a lot of different scientists all over the world to kill off the sick, poor and needy. The Illuminati is behind this. This virus is not alone. It is the beginning of a new time where every 5 to 10 years a new deadly virus will come and attack these specific groups, poor, old and sick, to eradicate and eliminate. All these viruses will be created and mixed and spread by the enemy, the Illuminati. A group of special scientists from all over the world are inventing these viruses, mixing them with bacteria. The coronavirus is created to eliminate the people who are a stumbling block to the growth and economy. The government have to spend a lot of money on welfare, food, pensions, economical benefits, medications, etc. They have to look after the weak people forcefully. They feel that the older generations are more of a burden to the economy than a growth factor, which is in fact not true, of course. The older generations paid their price. They have built the country. They have a lot of knowledge, they give us moral values, cultural values and religious values, and are the pillars of families and societies. By eliminating them, the Illuminati reduces the cost and revives the economy. In this way, they try to create superpowers, strong, wealthy nations that can gain all power and rule over the world. The end goal here is to have a one world order, the New World Order. The role of China. China invented this virus and started the spreading of it. The reason why they chose China to start and spread the virus is that China can easily guard the secret. There is no freedom of press, no spread of social media, so the news of the virus wasn't out early. It got a lot of time to spread before it became known to the world. China highly benefits from this. China's economy was going down a lot before November. China prepared for the virus outbreak by producing a lot of equipment. Think about it. No one was prepared. The US doesn't have the equipment they needed and wasn't prepared. Europe doesn't have the equipment they needed. But China has been in lockdown for months and suddenly has enough machines and equipment to supply other countries. This is because they already have made the equipment in advance. They overproduced before the time came. Now they reap. Specifically, Wuhan is their main city of industrialization. That's why the virus started there. China wants to be the new superpower. They donate machines and necessary equipment for the virus now so they can get favor and dominion over other countries. And why is Italy so greatly affected? In Italy, the population is 60% elderly people. Why are children not affected since they're the weakest? Children are very vulnerable when they are still growing up. But what helps them with this virus is that their respiratory system is very strong. Older people often have lung failure, weak lungs, and their lung capacity is reduced. This makes them prone to be infected, but also makes the virus deadly. Children, if infected, bounce back more easily since their lungs are strong. Why the old people? Most countries have a very high rate of older people. This means that they are the people who get to vote and influence the governments. They are the ones who were brought up with Christ, valuing these things in their nations. They are the ones who built families and who highly value solidarity in their communities. They are pillars to the world and families. What does this virus do? This paves the way for the Antichrist. It eliminates the hard-to-influence people and it breaks the unity in homes, nations and families. It brings a lot of distrust. Countries start fighting, disagreeing on multiple things. We will see that the European Union is going to break into multiple small countries. Some countries will start being independent, all waiting for the Antichrist to come and take leadership. The New World Order. The values and goal of the one world order is one country, one currency, one belief, no religion. In the New World Order, what the enemy wants, the coming Antichrist, is the elimination of old, weak and homeless people, so the economy will be booming. But another reason for the elimination of these people is so that all cultural, moral and religious values will disappear. The young generations are easily brainwashed if they don't have an older generation who teaches them. Think about it. Who do we see in the churches? Who keeps societies and families together? The older generations. We know that the biggest goal of the Antichrist will be to eliminate God from this world. Through eliminating the older generations, he will start with this. The New World Order wants young people, healthy people with a lot of power and wealth. This means a better economy, more wealth. They want less humanity, less group forming, and societies and more individualism so that people will be easily influenced, brainwashed, and used for their purpose. The closing down of churches and the consequences of this. One of the biggest goals of the enemy is eliminating God from this world, and it already started. We see that he reached his goal. The churches are closed due to the virus outbreak. This is preparing people to never go to church anymore, but just watch a church service from home. If the enemy would do it all at once, close the churches or make religion disappear, people would protest. But instead he moves in baby steps. If at first they make the church services online, no one is alarmed. Slowly people will get accustomed to this idea of not physically going to church anymore. You will have to sign up and log in to your online service, and there the enemy has all your information and details, which makes it easier for him to spy on the church. Keep track of the church and eliminate the churches completely. Then the Antichrist will close all churches. Jesus said, "Gather together in my name, care for each other, carry each other's burdens," he said. "When 2 or 3 gather in my name, I will be there." Jesus talks about a physical gathering, not a gathering online. Online you are not together, you are still alone. Another thing that brings us great strength, both physically and in our spirit, is partaking in Holy Communion. We do this in the churches. Holy Communion brings healing to our bodies. It cleanses us and it protects us from many diseases, powers and principalities. It purifies us. When we no longer go to the churches and the gatherings and no longer partake in Holy Communion, we are weaker and more separated from God. We are more prone to get sick and being attacked by the viruses, bacteria and the enemy. Churches and their properties will eventually be occupied by the enemy. Another plan of the enemy is to stop printing Bibles. The physical Bible will disappear from daily society, and we will see everyone being encouraged to just use the app. People will start using their online devices more and more, and one day the enemy will get a virus in all Bible-related apps. Then the Bible will be completely gone. This will introduce a new era. The people are no longer gathering together and now also no longer have a Bible. The result is that they don't know the scripture, because if you gather together and everyone knows something, you can still come a long way. But now everyone is led to search for these things on social media. A lot of false preachers and teachers will arise to lead the bride of Christ astray. False doctrine will be spreading. People will be greatly deceived. Due to the loneliness, people will get more egoistic, selfish and self-centered. They will stop funding missionaries, so the gospel will be no longer spreading among the nations who never heard of Christ. The social media era. We see that one plan of the enemy is to disconnect people from each other, to no longer have these strong groups of people, but only individual humans who are easily affected and influenced and taken down if necessary. This is where social media comes in. We are all greatly stimulated to use social media. In the old days, if you missed someone, you would go over to see them, connect and build a deeper friendship. Nowadays, we're building on empty emotions, disconnecting more and more, and at the end of the day, everybody feels more lonely than before. Social media brings confusion among relationships and friendships. It brings distrust. People stop sharing their pains and burdens with each other. People are getting isolated, and all family values, religious values, cultural values are being destroyed. Everything online and in isolation. In these new times, to isolate us more, we will be greatly stimulated to start working from home. People will be isolated more from their fellow humans to cope with the great loneliness and depression that accompanies that. We will start looking more and more to entertainment, which you already guessed it, is made by these Illuminati people. In this way, it is super easy for the government and all involved to brainwash us. Another side effect is that working from home will make us more lazy and sick. Medicine use will increase, and this is exactly what the enemy wants. The medicine mafia will control the population immensely by their medicine use. Another side effect of staying home all the time is that less children will be produced. We humans tend to want to do what we can't do, but if we have the freedom to do it any time, we don't want it anymore. Hence, less children are being born. This isolation will lead to depression. Depression will lead to a search for something to make us feel better. And what will that be? Online shopping, entertainment and food. Shop more, watch more, eat more. We start being enslaved to these factors, and in this way we'll be more and more in submission under the authority of the Illuminati. New apps keep being created to keep us occupied, rather to keep us blinded to the things going on in the world. Most of these apps are created in China, so these will be the pillars of the New World Order. Social media and entertainment, online shopping no longer connecting to humans while you shop, medicine mafia with more and more viruses and bacteria, and human erasing medicines coming. The rise of India. Some countries are greatly benefited by the current events. India is one of those countries. By 2025, India will be one of the great superpowers of this world. The reason for this is that the Indian population is very young. India has more than 50% of its nation now below the age of 25, and more than 65% of the Indian people are below 35 years old. The average age in 2020 will be 29 years old. This is exactly how the Illuminati wants the countries to be. Less people will die because they have less elderly people. Another thing is that many companies that used to cling on to China for their supplies will start going away from China due to the current events. They will start looking for new suppliers. Europe will be too expensive, the US will not be able to meet their needs, so they will come to India. Where the history repeats itself. Stalin, Hitler, Mussolini, they all did the same. Eliminate people they didn't like to build a superpower or supernation. The messed up future events, the things to come. As said before, every 5 to 10 years a new virus will come, more and more deadly. There will be a virus that even melts the bones of people. Another thing that we see is that clinical trials will be done on humans. The goal here is to produce superhumans, immune to diseases and ready to form an army for the enemy. They will be immune to bullets, biological weapons, etc. And in this process, mutants will be made. Mutants being a mix of humans and animals. This process has already started. They now use monkey blood for humans and transplanted a pig's heart into a human being. These mutants will almost be zombie-like. They will be created through new vaccines and medications. They will be the carriers of death and destroy many others through bacteria and infections they carry. In their minds, they will be completely brainwashed, not having that humanity in them anymore. Besides these things, there are a lot of experiments going on animals. In the near future, humans will not be our biggest enemy. Animals will get more dangerous every day, such as mosquitoes, bugs, locusts, etc. They will kill a lot of people too. Another thing is that curiosity is making scientists experiment with extinct animals. They will try to bring back those animals. Now, God killed the dinosaurs and all these beings with a reason. They were very dangerous to mankind. They might bring back bacteria, diseases, etc. But the enemy will bring them back. Another thing is that the changing of our DNA is coming. If we look at the young generations in China and Japan, we can see already this is happening. The older generations, the parents, the grandparents, were only 4 or 5 feet. The new generations are suddenly above 6 feet. The DNA is modified. Excuse me a minute, let me just move this. What do we now know? What to do now that we all know this? Let us not be fearful, but let us cry out to our Father in heaven, who revealed all these things to us for his purpose. Fast, cry and pray. Seek his face and share these words with as many as you can. God bless you. May his peace be upon you. God bless all of you. Bye-bye.